Welcome back, my friends. Who Lost Signals discusses all things pop culture. So earlier in the year, in the summer or so, we did a sort of roundtable roundup of just various things we've been checking out. And we're going to do another round of that tonight. I am Scott Thurlow, and here with my fellow members of the Pop Culture Society, Jonathan Emanzer.
Well, we just solved the mystery for people who follow our show of where Steve-O went. Turns out he wasn't murdered, but
he was just in a TV show, yes.
Yeah.
That was the continuation from the previous episode, if you caught that. Yes. So Stephen Amosi as well. Speaking of him,
hello.
Now.
I'm your TV man for today.
And Chris Morgan.
Good evening.
All right. Vaguely follow suit how we did it last time. Let's start off with TV shows or small non-film things that we've been watching. So I will kick it to you. And so I know we mentioned this one last time, but it took a little break and then came back. Steve-O, DuckTales, the new animated version, which is fucking great still. David Tennant voicing Scrooge and many other great voice actors, and just really well written, very entertaining. Has things for kids, certainly. It has things for people our age as well. And it's like however they cut it up has been very highly enjoyable. So I've been checking that out pretty frequently.
Been solid. I guess in terms of cartoons, I'll stay with the cartoon thing. I recently caught all up on, and they just released the last season of Netflix's Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, which is a very solid show. I think I recommended She-Ra last time. This is kind of on par with that.
Well, in keeping in discussion cartoons, because I don't watch much TV, but I am a big fan of Norm Macdonald, and that led me to the Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Oh, what a great show!
Mysteries is quite good,
which I've been enjoying thoroughly, specifically since I just think it's Mike Tyson, Norm Macdonald, and the guy from Community, the dean from Community, just at a table fucking around. It's fantastic. Pigeon's one of the greatest characters ever written, and so I feel like they're like 10 minutes a piece. Like they're on Hulu now, so you can enjoy those.
It's just Norm Macdonald be Norm Macdonald. I don't even know if they're even writing anything really. But yeah, what do you got, Chris?
Okay, since I might be taking this from Steve-O, but since we're on animation, since we're on cartoons, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Lower Decks. I have to say it took me a couple episodes to get into it. I think the Easter eggs are well-timed.
Star Trek show for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah. Sorry. Star Trek Lower Decks. It's on CBS All Access. I like the Easter eggs because they go from overt to incredibly subtle to, oh my God, I didn't catch that. How the fuck did I not catch that? I quite enjoy it, and I look forward to rewatching it.
All right, so yeah, I got one more since animation. Archer just ended about a week or two ago, season fucking 11 or something, and yeah, I think of a return to form. I was a little bit underwhelmed, like not quite impressed with the previous 2 or 3 seasons, but I think they came back and did a good job of like, I don't want to spoil too much. Like it's to where Archer was, but also with having the benefit of hindsight with the writing and with the characters. So I think they did a good job there, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. Nice. All right, let's go on. What Steve, I'll go to you. What's next on your TV list?
I want to mention. So I'm going to start now at like kind of the point where we left off last time in June. Okay. One of the first shows that came out after we did that. I don't think I mentioned this because I don't think it came out beforehand. Was Space Force on Netflix with Steve Carell.
I think you did mention it, or like had just started or something.
Maybe, but it was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it was all right. Not worth writing home about, but my next one is going to be worth writing home about.
All right, so well, let's go to E if you got something.
The Wire.
Shit, I've never heard of it.
I finally got through season 2. I started finished season 3 as well. I mean, I don't know what I can add, but yeah, season 2 is slower than the rest, and actually took me a little while because Ziggy was an annoying ass character. But overall, I'm glad that I understand conceptually how it's important for the framework of the entire series, but I'm happy to be back in season 3.
I mean, The Wire stands, and it's always sort of worth going back to catch it here and there, like if it's been a while. So yeah, good call.
Yep.
Good rewatch. What do you got, Chris?
I'm going to bring up Star Trek Discovery. Seasons 1 and 2 really took a bit to find their footing. Season 1, I think, was the most uneven because showrunner Brian Fuller pretty much left right away. And we have a Kiva Goldsman, whose record is spotty. And Alex Kirkman, whose record is spotty. But season 2, they got it back on track, and they got a showrunner, and she, whose name I'm blocking, is actually a diehard Trekkie, and you could tell right in the middle of season 2 where she took over. So the ending of season 2, this is not even a spoiler because it's out there. Discovery goes 930 years into the future. So in other words, they're like, fuck this crap. Let's get out of the shadow of all the other series. The series has become more of an ensemble piece, which is fantastic. I'm on episode 4. I haven't seen this week's episode yet, but this shit just knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's like the best elements of like Deep Space Nine in that there's a huge ensemble cast. It really melds with the sensibility of the way shows are running today. I can't say enough of it. It's the best of Trek.
All right. Well, very nice. You fucking Trekkie nerd. So I got a quick one. Like, I tried to watch Britannia, and it wasn't quite what I thought it was. It's got, I don't know the guy's name. He's the governor in fucking Walking Dead, and he's a very good actor and has a bunch of other like pretty good too. But it wasn't like as historically like, yeah. So he's good in it, but the premise is more like it's got like more supernatural, like magical druid to it, which is like fine. Like I'm not against it. It's just not what I thought I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and when that stuff started, it's not really. I'm not really feeling like maybe I'll come back to like whatever. But like it was recently on, so and if you allow me, I'll segue that into because either right before or right after Lovecraft, which also just ended about a week or 2 ago, a couple weeks ago, pretty recently, and Lovecraft Country was fucking sweet. I did like it quite a bit. A really good job like addressing some social issues and like doing some Lovecraft stuff, really, like not even like necessarily Lovecraft stuff per se, just like XPs and stuff with magic spells, but again tackling social issues from the 1940s and 50s. So yeah, I think it was really well done, and I think you also watched it, Sivo. So got anything?
I did. Just really great, different types of horror, like different genres of horror, like done really well every episode, which is really impressive in tying a story together and doing something different every episode with it.
Right on.
That said, like speaking of darker things, Dark season 3 came out over the summer, and I love this show. I've been telling everybody to watch it, and nobody does, but
I know
it's freaking great. And they ended it in a perfectly complex way. The show is very, like, maybe the most complex show I've ever seen in terms of like the way that they layer like time travel on top of like all kinds of other stuff, and it's just really good. I highly suggest it, starting with season 1. It's a German show on Netflix. I think it was the first international show that Netflix ever did, like as a Netflix original, and it was solid. Check it out.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there's a running gag that Steven recommends something.
The more you recommend,
none of us
something,
watch it until someone else recommends it, and they're like, "Oh, Dark was great." You're like, "I told you about Dark."
Yeah, and then once all that's done, I come up with it after everybody.
Yeah, 2 years later, Chris is like, "Have you guys seen Dark?"
It's basically a long-term troll, and then in both ways.
So 2023, I'm going to bring up Dark.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
I did start watching Dark, Steve, the first season when you recommended it, and not that I didn't like it. I was like, all right, it's cool enough. Like I'll come back to it, and just didn't have the time to it. But not that it put me off. Not that I thought it sucked or was bad or anything like that. It is on my queue to get to eventually, but other things are going to take precedence.
All right, I think I'm going to talk enthusiastically about the only show I watch nowadays, Taskmaster. It's a British show. They've uploaded a bunch of them on YouTube on their official channel, so you get to watch the entire. They have 1 through 7. They're on their 10th series now. Greg Davies, Alex Horn. I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. The humor is perfect. I love my British comedies. It is absurd. And I also want to say that I've started branching out into the international one. So I've been watching Taskmaster New Zealand, which I think they just introduced, but they're also putting, no, because Greg Davies and Alex Horn have a special dynamic there of a sub-dom weird thing. But it can't quite capture the chemistry that's there, but it's still a quality product. And in the new series of the British one, Johnny Vegas and from the IT crowd, Jen, she's on there as well, and it's holding up to form.
And
I do believe you're tasking us with
yes, speaking
watching
of that,
Series
yes,
5
that
for
is-
next week. So
we are going to be covering a little bit of Taskmaster itself
Yeah.
via the meta sort of angle.
Unlike Steven, I have co-opted our podcast to force people to watch shows I want them to, where he could fully be like, hey, let's do a review of Dark
Just
season
this
1. But he never does. I have
Yeah.
to force this. So yeah.
All right. Well,
Fair enough.
I got one more for you. I was saving this one for TV. I think it is the best thing on TV, at least that I've been watching for now. Fargo. The new season of Fargo has been absolutely incredible. Fucking Noah Hawley is one of my heroes. Wise, like he's show running it. He writes a lot of it. He also he writes it with other people like here and there and gets different directors. But my God, the story they're telling and the acting as well. Chris Rock is in it. Fucking Timothy Oliphant. I'm sorry, Julie something. She was in. I'm thinking of Ending Things. She's incredible in it as well. It's just the show for me. Everything comes together. It's motherfucking fantastic and riveting and tense the entire time. I love it. There's like 3, maybe 2 episodes left, and yeah, I make time for Fargo because it is that good and it's the best thing I think on TV for now. Recently, in the past, like
you got me on the Fargo season 4 train. I haven't watched it. I only watched the first season, and yeah, you're right. This season is great. Chris, did you have another one?
I've got a lot for music, so I'm just gonna do a quick rundown. I think I mentioned Picard last time to finish up the Trek stuff. Basically, Beth and I just got done watching Sabrina Part 3, which is good. It goes some places.
Is good? Go on.
Which
Oh, Part
And-
4 is coming out, and then it's over. By the way.
yeah, I know. But speaking of things that Chris was late to the game on, Beth and I just started watching Community, and it is fantastic.
It is.
Finally.
Does Darren Harmon do
Yay.
that? Just kidding. Yeah,
So-
Community is good. Like, so to be fair, no, seriously, we did rewatches last time. Like, shit that like new per se, but haven't seen in a while. Or, for example, you haven't gotten to yet.
I just did Mike Tyson's Mysteries. I mean,
I have a whole
like,
list
that's
of
Yeah, but,
finally
like, I mean,
watched.
4 seasons of it.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned some music stuff, why don't you tell us about what music shit you've been checking out?
Okay. So lately, the coming on board late things once again. Beth and I have been listening to a lot of Billie Eilish. Her new single.
Who's that now?
Billie Eilish.
Uh-huh.
Her new single just dropped actually last night. Therefore I Am. Her brother Phineas is her co-writes the music with her and is the producer, and he himself has wanted a producer award. And I'm like reevaluating everything I do now, because like he's just like, yeah, we wanted this snare drum, we wanted a different snare. So Billy and I went to the bathroom and just lit matches until we got the right one. I'm like, fuck, he's brilliant. And the other thing I want to bring about Billy is like, she just turned 18, and the fucking people are just, I mean, like they've been fat shaming her, which is a lot of bullshit.
Everyone's an asshole. Like, I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you. Like,
because I'm
Yeah,
fucking
people are
sick of
gross.
this. I'm fucking sick of this goddamn industry. And she came out with a really good response, like the video it's called Not My Responsibility. But as somebody who's always struggled with this weight, fat guys through history were always like the comic reliever. So, and I would have loved somebody like Billie Eilish to be like, not my responsibilities, assholes. So props to her and her
Right on,
brother.
Booker.
You are certainly not the comic relief of this podcast.
I was waiting for you to fucking say that. But definitely.
Well,
no.
I have my moments.
But she also, so, to be fair, Chris, so very quickly, since you mentioned her, about a month ago or less, she also dropped the title song for the new Bond film, No Time to Die, which is also an amazing song and sweet video.
Yeah, and
Definitely
she wrote that.
props to
Her and Phineas co-wrote that, and they went to England. And Johnny Marr from the Smiths plays guitar on it,
Yep.
and Hans Zimmer did the orchestrations from it. Two quick other things. I've been listening to the new album by Crumbin called Mordecai, and it's
Nice.
any great group, and they're one of my favorites. This is nothing like their other albums. Laura does a lot of singing on it. DJ, who's probably one of my favorite drummers, very steady, minimalistic. He's really expands a bit on it. Yeah, some standout tracks, Time You and I, Pilota, and So We Won't Forget. And the last thing that's new on the mix, I mean, aside from all the synthwave that I've been still listening to,
I'm with you on that.
is Yasmin Hamdan. She's from Beirut, Lebanon. She lives in Paris now. Lebanese singer. She came on our radar a while ago. She was featured in Jim Jarmusch's Only Lovers Left Alive.
Nice.
Beth and I we started listening, started deciding like after all these years to pick up her records. She's quite excellent. So Yasmin Hamdan. I think I did that right.
Well, if we're talking about music for a second, I've been getting into mashups quite a bit lately. I forced all of you to listen. The guy, I think is Bill McClintock, I believe is the name of him. He does Shout and Ace of Spades is my favorite one I showed you.
Oh yeah,
Good mashup.
But, very entertaining. Yes.
But yeah, I think mashups, like the concept of them, is very appealing to me because I feel that it's very much modern sense of
music, really.
Yeah, taking everything that's been developed before and shoving it together in new, interesting ways.
So I decided to only do TV this time because I have so much of it. So let me crush like 3 or 4 real quick of like
Do a
June
lightning round
through August stuff that I have floating around. Doom Patrol season 2 came out. It was quite good, but cut short because of COVID. So I'm looking forward to season 3 or whatever they're going to have happen. Umbrella Academy season 2 on Netflix was, I think, better than the first season. And I like the first season quite a bit. It kind of, I'll mention another one. The Boys also came out with their season 2. I like Umbrella Academy a little bit better, but a lot of people prefer the Boys. I think they're both pretty solid. Satirical looks at superheroes and things like that. And then the other one that I wanted to mention was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The final season came out, and it was actually pretty good. I think it was better than the previous couple seasons. They just did a whole, like, we're going to go through and do a satire of, like, every decade since the World War II. And some of them, like, there was I want to say the 80s episode was, like, very violent and kind of awesome. So that's a standout for me. So that was a few of them real quick there.
So what season? Wait, question to you is, that was the last season of Agents. What number season was that?
7.
Okay.
Did Ward come back?
No, I wish. He was my favorite character.
Yeah.
He was my favorite.
Surprisingly.
So saying Agents is finally done after like 20 years or whatever of 7 seasons.
And the other one that I saw, like, kind of on the cusp of that, there was this show called Woke that came out. I think it was Netflix. It might have been Hulu. It was Netflix or Hulu with Lamar Morris, who was Winston from New Girl, if anybody watched New Girl. And then a bunch of other, like, good cast, mostly the ones that playing like pencils and like garbage cans and shit, which was pretty interesting. It's a cool take on, like, it's just a black guy who realizes, like, who is trying to, like, he's kind of like go along, get along type of guy, and then realizes that he's getting, like, black people are getting fucked over. It's like it's a show for our age for sure. And definitely it is a quick but decent watch, and I hope they come back with season 2.
Cool.
Is that our TV bonus, like lightning round shit for now?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like
Zivo?
4 more shows.
Everything you wanted to cover?
Those were the ones that I wanted to go through quickly.
All right.
The other ones I'll go a little bit more in depth.
If we have time, we'll get to them. So you guys want to move on to like film or anything like aside from the stuff we've been reviewing? Does anyone have? I have a few things, but I'll open up. Does anyone have anything?
I mean, the rest of
I
my
don't
stuff.
watch anything unless we're forced to watch it for our podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of my stuff's music. So if you just want to kind of spin it around and keep mixing it up, I've got more things to come back to.
Well, I got a few things. So for Halloween, because it was only a couple weeks ago, I decided this year I was like, I'm not gonna do like ironic, like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. Like, I just want to watch some good shit or shit that I haven't seen. So I had happened to have DVR'd Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark from last year, from 2019. And actually, it was surprisingly fucking solid. Like, I think it was really well done. It kept to the spirit, like even like the a sort of artistic style, like the monsters look kind of like from the the original artwork that was in the books. And I thought it was really well done. And they even set it up for a sequel. So like, yeah, I was really presently like entertained by it. And it wasn't like shit. It wasn't like they mishandled it. I thought they did a good job with it, and it's kind of worth a watch. And the only other thing is that I happened, or sorry, two quick things, both rewatches. I've never seen 1978 Body Snatchers all the way through. That also was on around Halloween, so I just killed that, like crushed that. It was good, sure, like I enjoyed it, but I just never seen it from start to finish. And finally, Chris, this one maybe just for you and me, the fucking remake of or the 2011 reboot of The Thing was on the other day too, with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's very good. Like I forgot that was her in that movie. So like it's still all right. I mean, you might as well watch the original thing. Like it's better than it, sure. But they tried to do a prequel, like explaining like what happened in the Norwegian outpost leading into it. So like whatever, it was on and it was okay. But that was sort of my Halloween like stuff that I did in terms of film. But you're right. Otherwise, every other film we've either already covered it or we're about to cover on the podcast. So all right, so back to you.
I was gonna say, since you're on Halloween, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. They look. It's a film from several years ago. It's called "They Look Like Humans." It's an outstanding film. It's not what you think it is.
Or is it a domestic production, Chris?
Oh, it's a low budget film. It's an independent film. I think it's from 2015. It's on Amazon Prime. It's not. It's worth a watch. I don't really want to say much about it, but it's probably one of the better films I've seen, horror movie wise.
All right, cool. Anyone else have anything for that spot?
Well,
yeah.
I guess let me go back to like some really good TV, like things that I really wanted to mention. I haven't said anything about this yet, but Schitt's Creek season 6, the final season, was terrific. If you like Schitt's Creek at all, it's awesome. If you haven't seen any of it, go check it out. The last season was really good and a really good send off for them.
I thought you had mentioned
Mandalorian season 2 has been pretty good so far. If anybody's interested in that kind of Star Wars stuff, there's only been 2 episodes, but I know you're not, Ian. Blackish season 7 so far has been also very good. We talked about this the other day, Chris. I think you and I are the only ones that are watching it of this crew so far. But it was,
again, I want to, it's on my list.
There's a lot there. I understand. There's like 170 episodes to get through. And the last thing of stuff that's happening now that I wanted to talk about is everyone should watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. It is
Did it just drop?
Good. And Ian, yeah, well, they dropped everything at once. But like Ian, you would love this movie specifically. It's just a really good movie.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, and it's a really good show, and it's a miniseries, so it's one and done. 8 episodes or whatever, 7 episodes, I think actually. So check it out for sure. It's very good. Me and my roommate Lou watched it, and it was well worth the watch. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Very nice. All right. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna move. I got a couple of video games, of course, because that's the thing. The reason I don't watch a lot of other stuff that you recommended is I'm playing fucking video games, obviously, instead of that. So I got a few things, and actually, so this one's a crossover to you and me, Steve-O. Just before Halloween, Doom Eternal's DLC dropped. So we picked that up and like flew through it like a couple of days, and it in hardcore, like difficult, but like sort of in the best way. It's more Doom. I mean, if you like what you got from Doom 16 and Doom Eternal, it's just like, hey, did you forget how to ride a bike? Oh, fuck you. Why don't you fly F-16 instead? It's like they just throw all this shit at you like from the word go. But yeah, it was a great romp to go through. It was pretty sweet, and it's only part 1, so technically it's going to be I would say it's about 3-4 hours or so of content, and probably then part 2 will be maybe about the same, depending how long
Certainly
it
more
takes you
for
to
me.
get through.
I've been slowly trying to slog my way through it, but it's awesome.
Sure, certainly. So then I got another one. So that's a crossover between you and me. I got one for me and E is Cloudpunk. So I'm going to talk more about it almost certainly on Games of the Year, or at least games lists when I get to it. But yeah, it was a PC port from April that they ported to consoles in mid-October. And I wasn't going to pick it up at first, but something happened. I just ended up picking it up. I was like, I heard about it. It was supposed to be cool. And I got quite into it. It is a very awesome game with a lot of cool themes and good voice acting, good characterization, and also sort of zen-like relaxing. Like, you're not doing much. You're basically an Uber taxi driver, like in a futuristic corporate city, but that is very relaxing. And there's a great story that's stapled onto it that, if you follow through, is rewarding.
The side characters are actually the best part about that. There's 2 robot or android, in a sense, rebels or gang members, but what they do is urban renewal, because that's the best way to stick it to the man. Take corporate owned land and make a park on it, and which I fully support.
Yeah, it's very clever and very well written, and has a lot of deep themes to it, so very enjoyable. I'm glad I checked it out. And one of the last thing I've got is I just finally got my hands on Watch Dogs Legion. I was waiting for it. There was a kerfuffle with it getting delivered to me, but I finally got it. And if you ever wanted to role play through a fucking like grad student Guy Ritchie film, like basically a film student making a Guy Ritchie film or trying to, this is the game for you. It's so motherfucking British. And I was telling you, like, if you're a fan of Britishisms, it's that. Like, I actually have a character who looks just like Colin Farrell, almost like the guy from his character from Gentleman. And like, you're just recruiting. There's no main character. You recruit any random British citizen on the street and do a mission, do some hacks, do this and that. And it's very highly entertaining. It's, again, a fucking romp love. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's great if you're into it. I think it's the best in the series so far, and I've been having a ball with it. So
I'll go over to video games for a second. Played Medieval. Played Legends of Amalur, Re-Reckoning.
Mhm.
And I have nothing to say about either of them.
You played them. And
I play them. Yeah. However, I've been playing Spider-Man for the PS4 recently. I finally got around to that. And guess what? It's prescient. There's a play going around New York City. New York City's in a lockdown. Rioters are roaming the streets, and giant octopus are attacking skyscrapers, all of which is occurring right now.
I'm actually excited to get the Miles game. So
yeah, and that's partly why I wanted to get around to it, because I heard Miles Morales game is pretty good,
very good buzz,
and I very much enjoyed playing the PS4. It is tragedy porn. Like, there is nothing but like terrible things happening to everyone in this world, but you know what?
It's fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah. I actually think it's perhaps the best
Always
Spider-Man work outside of the comics I've ever seen.
Outside of
that, yes.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah.
I might agree with
actually, here's the thing: is I felt I had to place my heart for Dr. Octavius. I really I emotionally connected with his character.
Yeah.
So like that's why it may go above that, because I actually really loved his downfall. Hope to have one like that someday as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
You're aspiring to have that same arc, it seems. So yeah, so that's basically. I mean, I played a few more, but those are the ones I want to. Does anyone else have any games or anything? Before we move on to the next. Who do you got?
So I've got a finally watched part that like was the things that while in quarantine I finally got around to these shows, right? So I'm gonna go through these very quickly. Maybe say like one thing about each one of them. But Orphan Black, very good show. Got a little full of itself sometimes. I thought it could have been better, but it was also at the same time very good. I was glad that it was recommended to me by so many people, and I finally watched it. Veep, fucking hilarious, terrifying. Exactly what happened in the last 4 years. So that was quite good.
Steven,
yes.
May I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
There's a quote I love about Veep that Republicans think they're in House of Cards, the Democrats think they're in the West Wing. Everyone's in Veep.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely accurate. Hannibal, fucking amazing show. We already talked about. We did an episode about this. I finally got around to watching it, partly on your suggestion, Ian. So thank you. Speaking of The Wire, I forget what his name is. The guy that created The Wire, one of the guys that created The Wire, also did this show called The Deuce, which is very, very good.
What's that on? Like what?
It was on
channel?
HBO, and you can get it on demand on HBO. It's 3 seasons. It's fucking nearly as good as The Wire. So definitely check it out. A show that I recommended to all you guys and was met with like varying degrees of excitement about, Gary and His Demons. I actually really enjoyed this show, but it might have been because I was pretty drunk when I saw it. Who knows?
Here's the thing, Steve. We're cooking. Sorry, you did recommend to me. I was like, fine. This was a while ago. Like, all right, I'll watch it. Like, the thing is, I forgot about it. So I have like, it's not, but nor is it like amazing. I literally forgot about it until you said it right now on air. So it was
It's very crushable. I think it's like 15 episodes, but they're like 11 minutes long each, and I thought it was hilarious. Your mileage may vary, obviously.
That's okay.
Into the Badlands is another one. I finally watched this show, and I when I got to the end of it, I was so upset that it got cut off early because it's just the best fight choreography you're going to see in North America on anything.
Pretty sick.
You know, it's fight choreography you would expect to see coming out of China or Japan or out of Asia. You know, like it's very, very good. Attack on Titan. I finally caught up with. I had only seen the first season. I finally caught up with the rest of it because it's coming back.
I know.
Fuck
you! You preempted me, but I had that. I'm like,
and well, I have upcoming shows too,
yeah.
sure. But and the last one, I have made the incredibly horrible decision. I realized that I have never actually seen any Star Trek show all the way through. So I decided I'm going to watch all of Star Trek except for
the original series.
I can't deal with watching all of that. So I'm starting with The Next Generation, and so I'm watching that now, and I'm going to watch all like 500 episodes or whatever.
I mean, noble effort, but it's a good show.
Enterprise. Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good. The first season is not very good.
TNG is my favorite one.
The first season of TNG is one of the worst things.
Well, I mean, that's what they call it. That's what they call it, growing the beard.
It's the first season of TNG is god awful.
I feel like if I can get through this, all the rest of Star Trek is going to be a breeze. So
yeah,
without question.
Literally until Riker grows the beard because of the trope, like then you know it's good.
Do you know why that happened? I found out why that happened. Actually, I was looking up stuff about Star Trek, and like he came in, he was too lazy to shave. He came back from the break between the first and second season, and whoever the showrunner was like, or no, Roddenberry, I think, was like, hey, that's nautical. You're gonna keep that beard. We're gonna fucking go with that. And like everything changed.
Shave those sideburns maddeningly.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chris, you haven't spoken in a while. What do you got on your list?
Okay, because Scott, I hope I didn't see your thunder, but Ian turned us onto a show called Todd in the Shadows.
Yeah, we definitely got to give him credit on that for sure.
Yeah, Ian, I've watched all 80 episodes of One Hit Wonderland. I'm working through the rest of his stuff. There's a lot of stuff I didn't learn about. Didn't know, like Lips Incorporated, Lips Inc., Lip Sync. Oh my God. Like there it is, like 40 some odd years of me listening to Lip Sync. I never got the joke. He's been very inspiring. All the back stuff. I've learned that in a lot of ways, musically, I've limited myself when I didn't need to limit myself because I was trying to fit myself into certain boxes.
You're a poser.
Sure. The other thing that Beth and I have been watching on YouTube is Ryan George does this thing, Pitch Meeting, which is amazing.
It's amusing. For sure.
Yeah, I love it. But getting back to music, what I've been doing back in when the pandemic began, Keeper from Magic Sword would do these Friday night DJ sets. And if you saw some of it, I'd be sitting here like recording it while we're doing the podcast, and he got me into a lot of actually international disco. And then Crumbin did a DJ set too. And so I've actually been listening to a lot of disco, like retro stuff, like Saron, and even like, go on.
I said right on.
Okay. And, I've been listening to a lot of early stuff like, and Hot Blood and Soul Dracula. I don't know if you ever heard that. The Taiwan, I think there's a Taiwanese artist named Don who actually, I like his version better. Yeah. One of the things there's a song that Keeper would always rotate called La Roulette by Zakir. Turns out Zakir is one of the groups in a collective called oh shit, where'd it go?
Good name.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm gonna go see Oh Shit tonight.
Oh, shit, where'd it go?
Oh
No,
shit,
The,
but
the
the shitty Beatles.
Not just
there's
a
a
clever name.
collective called Disco Halal. It's a record company founded by Israeli DJ producer. He's out of Tel Aviv, called Mosca Man. He's now based in Berlin, and so there's this whole wave of like international Middle Eastern disco coming out. Zakir La Roulette is my favorite. That also moved me on to some Russian disco that I'm quite fond of, which is kind of like, if you know Gogo Bordello, it's kind of like that.
I saw Gargo Badello in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're awesome. So imagine it in actual Russian, that kind of thing with the disco beat underneath. It's phenomenal. So I've been actually really getting into disco, and it's pretty much influenced a lot of the stuff I'm working on. Um, and you know, I guess I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, I don't really give. I'm not. I'm after interviewing Amanda Baki and Tyler Kitchens. I've realized that I'm done being modest. So shameless self promotion. I've gotten a Turia Key Step 32, which allows me to play.
Did you build it?
No. I own this. Aturia makes it. I do a lot of work with the software synthesizers, which allows me to do music in the living room, in the bedroom while Beth's playing, out in the patio. So I'm going to make this announcement right now. You guys might know about it, but I'm making the official announcement because if I don't, I'm going to move the release date. My first solo effort, my first synthwave album called Atomic Suit Punch is going to drop on April 20th.
Yay.
All right. He basically you just John Romeroing yourself. Hyping it all up.
Yeah.
You better get that fucking
Yeah,
shit done.
Yeah, you better fucking get it
the
done,
thing
man.
is, I've just I did that purposely because I've got the Cinemambulator, which I released last year. I'm going to remaster. I basically have the title track done and the cap off. There's a reprise at the end done. I've got 3 other pieces that I'm in the middle of doing. So this thing is going to be released on 4/20/2021.
Well, like 30, 40 tracks? How many tracks? Million?
Right now it's going to be 6 tracks. I'm going to try to get a 7th in there, but 6 tracks is going to be it. It's kind of like taking a lot of stuff that, you know, the disco influence, a lot of stuff I've learned talking to Tyler Kitchens, who is a very good up and coming film composer, who little bastard's half my age and he's excellent. Amanda Baki, who's a very talented songwriter, musician, composer that we've all met. I've learned, they've inspired me a lot with narrative timbre. The show is coming back. I got sidetracked with working with pinups for pit bulls and slackers and some other stuff we've been doing. Matsaween. Once we hit October, everything goes to the wayside.
Sure. It was a very busy October.
So that's coming back.
The coolest music you listen to is the shit that you've been writing. That's what you're saying here right now.
No, the reason I have so much music stuff is because listening to Billie Eilish and listening to Todd in the Shadows and interviewing the people that I did and getting into disco and really expanding things I hadn't thought about has really motivated me to keep working, which is why when I haven't really watched much, I haven't played video games because
we're just busting your balls, but no, certainly it's awesome that you've been, getting your shit done.
Which is why I brought the Aturia Key Step in there. Please, Aturia, please sponsor me.
Good luck.
But this has been my saving grace. This allows me to be outside and work on music and be in the living room or be in the bedroom when Beth's playing video game. So yeah, that was my shameless self promotion. But this sounds horrible, but like, the pandemic has never given me more time to work on music or really talk to musicians, to really have somebody like Todd in the Shadows analyze pop music in the way that
catastrophe equals creativity.
Yeah. And having my influences, Magic Sword and Crumpin, introduced me to music I would not have otherwise listened to. So I appreciate everybody listening to me go off on that, but it was all interconnected.
Right on. Get the album out. So I just got one more. Since Todd in the Shadows, I have Another channel I like from YouTube is called Invicta, and it's mostly like it's either one British guy sometimes and an American guy. Like it's all like Roman, Greek, medieval, Viking history, but it's really well researched, excellently animated, and just very informative. It's about like I would say 10, 15, 12 minutes. Like they vary, right? But within that range, and just very watchable and just really cool. Just kick back, like, oh, you want to hear about the Battle of Thermopylae? Like, here's the best, here's what we've got from the actual like firsthand accounts, and here's what historians say, this and that. And like, it's cool if you're into it. It's worth a watch, I would say. If you like the kind of history, it's a cool channel for it.
I'm going to throw out one last part. Maybe give a self-promotion too. I recommend Richard Wolff. He's an economist. I attempt to things that I am unfamiliar with that are blind spots for me. Both music with Todd in the Shadows, history with Invictus. Here, Richard Wolff. Economics. He's one of the foremost Marxist economic theorists out there, and I actually like his work quite a bit. And I like his personality too. He has kind of that rugged Brooklyn type. Hey, I get it. So, but I'm also looking into Supreme Court cases. Hey, but I'm not going to go into that. But evidentiary standards for computational forensic linguistics. Woo!
That's not pop culture, but it is important work.
It is because of CIS and all those fucking bullshit. Forensic
I think you mean
bullshit.
CSI.
CSI,
NCIS, CIS.
Oh, NCIS.
Criminal
I thought you
Minds.
said CIS.
All
You were
combined.
saying
into
all
one.
of them, yeah.
Quincy CME from the 70s.
The only last thing that I wanted to mention, I don't have anything super personal. I've only done TV shows because I had way too many of them that I've watched in the last few months. But upcoming, The Expanse, which is a show that I think we all enjoy.
God
I don't know if
damn
you've seen
you,
it yet, Ian,
you
but
fucking... You screwed me over, Steve-O.
No, second party hasn't yet told me to watch it, so I can't do
I
it
have.
until.
Chris and
You're part of
Scott
the
are both
staff.
telling you to watch it.
Don't count.
But yeah,
Sam and
the
Lauren have. They're the ones
The
who told me.
Expanse. I know. I screwed you on The Expanse. I screwed you on
Well-
Attack on Titan. Sorry, man.
Well, not so. I was gonna say before you said that, I was like, anyone help anything else before we do upcoming stuff? So in my notes, that's what, if you don't mind, I'll read you. Time is short. I'll be brief. Expanse comes back. 12, 16. Get the fuck back to watching it. Was gonna be my references all. Like anyway, but yeah, it is excellent show and it is coming back soon. All right. So
Yeah.
what else? Sorry. Since I did cut you off, what else were you what did you?
There's that one, and the
have
only
on
other
the
one that I
upcoming?
had written down, which I'm probably not even gonna watch this season, is American Gods. They really screwed over Orlando Jones in the off season, and I've been hearing bad things about.
wasn't
the
cool,
production,
man.
So
Yeah. I'm sort of like it's a sunk cost fallacy for me. Gods, I may or may not get to it. I kind of want to see like if it's a train wreck, but I just don't want to give them views and credit because of that and because of other things.
yeah.
But I will say this: the other thing I had, Expanse is number one on my upcoming shit to say. But Mank is coming out December 4th, which we are going to cover for sure. I've been looking forward to it so much, and finally now we have a date. The date was confirmed like a couple weeks ago, so there's that. And I got one more for you. Speaking of, somebody mentioned, or maybe I mentioned it.
Oh, sorry. I love the one of the headlines of reviews for Mank was "This is Citizen Kane of movies about Citizen Kane."
We happened to see the same one. I was like, it's so great.
Nice.
I fucking loved it. Yeah, it's fantastic. So yeah, very excited about it. And like I said, we're going to cover it for sure. So that's only a couple weeks from now. And then Empire of Sin, which I brought up Doom or mentioned Doom, December 1st. It's John and Brenda Romero's new game. That's basically like 1920s, 30s Prohibition era mafia, XCOM sort of like isometric turn-based style, looking cool. Like so, for a while it just said like fall as a release date. So they finally have a firm date for that, December 1st, if you're interested. And the only other last thing I've got is that Cyberpunk fucking 2077 got delayed again. So
Yeah,
like,
it's not coming out until 2077.
it should have come out this weekend, like Monday or whatever. So now it's coming out December 10th.
But for valid reasons.
Sure. And we might cover that.
Oh, I
actually,
thought
like- yes.
I thought you were about to say no. It got bumped from December to March or
No, no.
something.
No, I mean, we knew that, so I just wanted to mention it here on air, for anyone or
Okay.
our fans and our listeners. But they, CD Projekt Red has committed to having that date, which may be its own separate thing, like crunch and all that. We're definitely going to cover that in games on the games channel later on. But I'm just saying, yeah, the third delay. So in theory, it will come out December 10th, which I am still going to get it no matter what. And yeah, I mean, that's it for me at least. And my last note is just what else is on your guys' radar? So anything else we missed, or Chris?
There's 2 more YouTube shows I've been watching, The Basics and Binging with Babish. And there's a show we started watching yesterday, Learn How to Drink or How to Drink,
All right.
which is fucking awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you got anything?
On again, off again. Have a love affair with the Great British Bake Off.
Indeed.
And I'm inspired. So I am making a truffles with pop rocks in them.
Yeah, nice.
I them anymore.
For your date?
You're
saying?
Oh yeah, for my sweet friend and myself. So we're going to have exploding truffles.
Well, hopefully
Hey,
that'll be
outstanding.
an excellent and memorable your date. But yeah, very nice, boys. So yeah, anything we missed, or again, anything that on your list that we didn't mention or you forgot? Yeah, so they're like a hodgepodge of stuff, but yeah, I mean that's the whole point of the pop culture roundup. Check out any of the things we mentioned that appeal to you, that sound cool, that we might recommend. And yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll probably do another round. I think we might start making this a semi sort of like annual thing or traditional thing.
So Steve doesn't have 30,000 things.
So he doesn't. Yeah. So he doesn't have a bunch of television shows.
If you wait
lodged
6
in his
months, I'm gonna
colon.
have 30 shows to tell you about.
No, I'm sure I believe you.
He'll get
I'll
some
have like 10 games
indigestion.
to tell you about. Yeah.
I mean, we used to do bonus points back in the day. I feel
Yeah.
like this is a natural,
This is
lazy
just,
branch off of that.
Yeah, this is just the whole umbrella of them.
And
Yeah,
I also want to get one more plug out to both Amanda Baki and Tyler Kitchens, 2 very good composer musicians that are out there that I can honestly say that not just because they're friends of the show, but generally good people who put out very good music. So definitely check
Good
them
people,
both
great
out.
artists. Check them out and check out our episodes with them. And yeah, we'll all tie in and check out Chris's fucking EP coming out in April of 2021 as well.
Boom.
So yeah, I think that would do it. Thank you so much for listening to us recommend/ramble at you. We have been the Lost Signals. I've been Scott Thurlow, here with Dr. Professor Jonathan Ian Manzer
Hey.
and Chris Morgan
Good evening.
and Mr. TV Max Headroom himself, Stephen Amosi.
But bye.
Peace.
Editing and engineering by Christopher Morgan. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates.